It's time for Where You Live with Gene and Tony, the show that's all about owning, buying, selling, renting, and association management. If it involves a home, we'll talk about it. Here's your chance to get your homeowner questions answered. From the Concierge Landscape Studios, here's Gene and Tony.
Needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were.
We're back. That's right. It's hour 2 of Where You Live with Gene and Tony. I'm Gene Sullivan.
And I'm Tony Crockett.
And we're having a great time here today. The stories, they never stop.
They don't. They just keep coming.
They just
Fast
keep on
and furious.
coming.
We never have a lack of material.
No, never do. And what are some of those stories you asked that we'll be dealing with here in this second hour? Well, we've got one state senator from the great state of Arizona who said, you know what? HOA contracts, they really don't matter. People should be able to break them anytime. Mm-hmm. And so that's interesting. We're going to take a look at her fine wisdom in that approach.
Okay.
We're going to be dealing a little bit later, too, with an interesting concept with a homeowner association. That's when you're dealing with notifying someone with violations and going through that whole process. Do homeowners have due process? If so, what are those steps that they take place? In our first story with Mr. Irizarry, he didn't feel that he was that he had due process.
Well,
or
he
things were
didn't
correct.
feel that he was being considered,
Yes.
or that the association was considered.
Yeah.
He hadn't even taken advantage of due process yet.
Yeah,
at that point.
and then we've also got another story where how would you like opening up your water bill and realize that, oops, we haven't billed you for a couple of years, you owe over $11,000.
Whoa, 11 grand.
Yeah, and
No,
by
I
the
wouldn't
way,
like that. I wouldn't like that one bit.
and by the way, there's a lot of extra fees and interest on that.
Late
too.
fees.
But hey, Tony, we've got another story that we're
Yeah.
going to cover here first.
Yeah, our top story this hour is from the Star Tribune, February 21st, 2012. The headline is, Occupy claims the credit for blocking eviction. The activist group Occupy Minneapolis claimed victory last week with the announcement that a South Minneapolis man who had faced eviction following foreclosure on his house will be allowed to stay. The group said that the owner, Bobby Hull, had negotiated a deal that involves U.S. Bank and Bank of America. Nick Espinoza, a spokesman for the Occupy group, said that under the deal, details of the arrangement could not be disclosed. But a spokeswoman for the Bank of America did confirm the deal in an email. Yes, she wrote, we have offered Mr. Hull a modification. In December, a rally of about 75 people, many of them Hull's neighbors, occurred outside his home in South Minneapolis. The home was sold at a foreclosure sale last August, and the redemption period ended last week. Since December, there have been petitions and other rallies at the house. Hull, who is a retired U.S. Marine, said in a statement last week, I stood up and told the banks I wasn't leaving until they negotiate, and I won. This means the world to me and my family, but we aren't satisfied yet. We will continue fighting until our neighbors and Americans across the country get the same deal that I did. Well, hoorah. I'm very happy for Mr. Hull that he got a loan modification out of 2 banks, it sounds like.
That's a hard process to go through.
Oh my gosh! We were talking a little bit about that in preparation for this story. The banks won't even talk to you until you're already in trouble.
Yes,
They don't talk to you in advance of trouble.
You're right. That's one of the misconceptions people have had about this whole loan modification deal is that they say, well, they're looking at their finances and they say we're going through any savings that we have, and so
that's right.
We can continue making the house payments for maybe about 4 to 6 more months. So let's contact the mortgage
by blowing
company.
through all of our retirement savings.
Yeah,
right.
But let's talk to the mortgage company now to see if we can get them
to modify
this beforehand. And they're surprised that the first thing the mortgage company says is, well, let's go through those 4 to 6 months. And then let's talk.
But they don't quite put it that way. They say you haven't defaulted on your loan. So we can't discuss this with you until you have defaulted on your loan.
Yes.
So you have to stop making your payments either as a tactic or because you can't before they'll even discuss modification. And then what do they do?
Well, I mean, even when they begin that process with someone, one of the first things they do is they send out a questionnaire of a list of questions that they want to ask. They want to find out how much money do you have.
They want a financial statement.
That's
they want to
right.
know your expenses and all your income.
Yes.
It's a complete financial statement.
Because they're not, again, the understanding with them is they will not talk to you until you are in the crisis. You're talking and you're saying, I can do this for another 6 months. They'll say,
then do it for another 6 months.
Then do it for another 6 months, and we'll see what happens then.
Even after you've stopped making the payment, they're going to look at that financial statements, and if they deem that they can get more money out of your assets, they're not going to modify.
And again, we've got to go through the understanding, just like we did in a previous segment. Yes, I think it's criminal what's taken place over the last few years where people were allowed to buy something with no money down.
Right.
And people were told, here, let's put you in a loan that's a higher interest rate.
Or that adjusts.
And continues to go up.
Yeah.
Or someone who was supposed to be working, I guess, in thinking of your best interests, like a realtor.
Or your loan officer. Right.
Knowing darn well that, I'm sorry, Mr. Smith, who drives bus, yes, we think you can afford a $800,000 home. That was one of the situations. A guy who worked 40 hours a week, maybe 50 hours with some overtime in Minnesota about a year or two ago. He was told he could afford an $800,000 home on that salary.
So people were misled. People, again, like you mentioned in the last hour, the service providers were more interested in getting the deal done, getting the loan signed, than in whether or not it was a good deal and a solid deal. So, and you're right. And what you're getting at is that borrower is ultimately responsible for what they did.
Yes.
And so you can't expect handouts. I agree. But what I don't like is the propaganda around loan modifications. Like this great thing is going on from the banks or from the government to help us, the general public, when it really does not.
And let's be clear here. We just talked about the realtor or the loan officer that weren't really working in their client's best interest.
Right.
But there was greed on another party here too, and that is that of the homeowner. In what world do you think that you can own an $800,000 home with that kind
on a bus driver's salary
on that kind of salary?
Yeah.
Many times they knew that they didn't even have the money to make. Some of these loans were interest only, so they weren't paying down principal.
Right.
They were just paying interest.
Right.
And so they thought, well, I'm going to take the idea was I'll take a gamble. And I'll purchase this home, and then in a year or two, because it keeps going up
in value,
I'll
it goes
sell,
up in value,
and now I'm going to be raking in a lot of money. That was just greed on the part of the homeowner.
Right.
So let's be clear here. I think there was greed, Tony, on all parties concerned,
right.
And everybody ought to take some responsibility in this.
I agree, but. In this case, Mr. Hull actually got loan modifications. Now, God bless him. I hope he can see these modifications through and meet the specifications of the modifications. But what do you think Occupy Minneapolis did to help him achieve this?
This is the real story to me.
I know it is.
I mean, can you believe it? The way it was written here in the story, it says, Occupy Minneapolis. They claimed victory, that they were the ones that helped this man who was facing eviction and foreclosure to be able to stay in his home. And then the very next sentence, Tony, read that again.
The next sentence says, the group said that Bobby Hull had negotiated a deal that involved the two banks. Is that what you wanted me to read?
The group that is what?
Occupy Minneapolis that's taking credit.
That's taking credit for doing this, said that Mr. Hull negotiated the deal.
That's right.
What is it that they did? It sounds like all they're doing is coming in to steal some thunder and to say,
well, they said
look
on
how
his front
wonderful
lawn.
we are.
They said on his front lawn.
Well, they did
December.
do that, didn't they?
Yeah.
And so that was that probably was a big
it's
deal
not
to them.
it's not clear at all that anything they did helped make this deal happen. It's hard to see that they put any pressure on the situation at all. For one thing, the house had already been foreclosed and the redemption period was already over
Yeah.
when they occupied the site.
Yes, and again, when did he get his loan modification? As we talked about, after everything had gone
That's right.
to its final
End. That's
final
right.
end here.
That's right.
And it wasn't until he said,
Good
"I don't
point.
have any more money. I can't do this
I
anymore.
can't redeem it.
I can't redeem it." And
We're at
he
the
went
end of that
through all
period,
that.
bank, you can have the house back. Then the bank was willing to
And then the
modify.
modification. But
Yeah.
for a group to have any kind of credibility here and take that kind of responsibility, I'm sorry. If I were Mr. Hull, I think I would be upset with Occupy
right.
Minneapolis,
That's right.
who all they did was occupy some of the thunder and take it away from him, in being able to negotiate. Well,
Politics.
yes, politics at its best or worst, I guess. Well, hey, we need to take another break. When we come back, let's deal with this water bill issue. What would you say if you opened up your next water bill and they said, "Uh-oh, you owe over $11,000"? Well, we'll talk to you about what this homeowner association thought after these messages.